help with tax, don't know what to do. The Brysons are here for you. We know every tip and trick. The serious tax talk with a Louisiana twist.
Well, hello there. It is great to see you again, and welcome back to another installment of Talkin' Tax. I am your host and moderator, Ryan Ruff. But as always, we have our stars of the show in Mr. Carey and Miss Angie Bryson of the Bryson Law Firm joining us in just a moment. We're also joined again by a special guest, Miss Jessica Thibodeau, attorney over at Bryson Law Firm. We're getting into another law-related discussion today. That's what we tackle here on the show. But look, for those of you that are joining us and coming in, I see a few filing in now live on the Facebook live stream. We appreciate you being here live today. And one of the benefits, as always, of doing these live on Facebook is if you guys have any questions or comments that you want to chime in during today's show, we can always answer them live in real time and get you that feedback that you're looking for. So feel free to leave a question or comment below. Let us know where you're watching today. It'd be great to hear from you. But hey, look, today we've got a good discussion that we're going to be jumping into because, like, hey, all of us were really impacted when the COVID-19 pandemic hit back in March of 2020. So many of us our lives were uprooted in one way or another, and many of us forced to alter the way that we were working and the way that we had to go about our business on a regular basis. And what we're doing today is we're talking about this free virtual consultation that the Bryson Law Firm has been implementing of late, and really what the free virtual consultation is, how it operates, but why it's become such a staple in how the Bryson Law Firm operates and functions as an entity. So let's go ahead and get into this, unpack it, and why it's important to even discuss today in the first place and how you can ultimately benefit from it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and bring the Brysons and Jessica on. Good to see you guys. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey.
Good to see everybody. Always a good time whenever we get together. And today we are talking the virtual consultation. But I think it's a good place to frame it up today. Everybody, Carrie and Angie, you got being the business owners, being those that run Bryson Law Firm. Talk to us a little bit about what March of 2020 looked like for you guys as business owners, and really how that made you, alter the way your business was operating, the way your clients could be served. Just talk to me about that time period, really.
Go ahead. I mean, in one word, it was very scary, as everybody else.
Chaos.
Yeah, chaos, scary, uncertainty. The business, from a business perspective, though, our model before was, we're a law firm, and law firms met people, they met their clients and in their office, and we talked to our clients and we visited with them. But then all of a sudden we go to the no contact, when you can't have anybody coming into your office. So ultimately we had no choice but to go virtual. Really, I mean, there was really no other choice. And I guess I have to admit, I have a lot of gray hair, and the virtual model was not my, was definitely was not my choice. I just really had no other choice. I know some of the younger employees were, I think, ecstatic. I mean, I think they really liked it, in the sense that, but it made me very nervous from a business perspective because, of course, my first thought is that nobody's going to work. They're going to go home. They're going to play. I mean, nobody. I don't work at home. I mean, how people work at home? But much to my surprise, I mean, it actually, as we probably talk about, I guess, eventually today or whatever, the production didn't fall at all, and we immediately had to ramp up. We had a good IT vendor at the time, and that helped us tremendously, and we got everything done in a matter of time. We were a virtual workplace.
Well, we didn't
Um,
have it. We didn't really have a choice. I mean,
yeah,
it's not like the IRS stopped its work,
Mhm.
although they did, back up a little bit, but and the deadlines were extended. I mean, our work needed to continue. So I mean, really, we had an obligation, a moral obligation to our clients and ethically to keep working. So we had to figure out a way to adapt. And I mean, our team did a really good job. I think in terms of productivity, we just they stepped up im- tremendously. Uh,
Mhm. Yeah, I
oh
mean,
yeah,
it's such a time of uncertainty, Carrie. You had mentioned it, and from a business owner's perspective, from an employee's perspective, from a client's perspective, we all didn't really know how we were going to function and continue to move forward when we couldn't even be in the same room with each other. So you've said that you've now officially kind of moved into this virtual workplace. And the topic of the day, we're talking about this virtual consultation that you guys offer and have been offering since this transition. Talk to me about this free initial virtual consultation. What goes on in the consultation? How is it conducted? Let's get into the meat and potatoes of it if you can.
Well,
I think Jess should
I'll probably have to
Yeah,
say
I'd be happy to.
Sure, sure.
say.
kind of
Yeah, I do
kind of
most of our initial consultations, and I have, Carrie and I both have for the last several years now. Like as far as your question with the model and what it entails and things like that, that really didn't change. I mean, we've always offered a free consultation, so that stayed the same, and the system and the process for it has always been the same. It's really just for us to connect with a potential client, hear their situation, make sure it's a tax matter that we can handle, and then offer them some education and some insight on what that process is going to look like as far as getting the tax matter resolved. We have to kind of go through what the next steps would be should they onboard our team, like walk them through what they can expect in the tax resolution process, kind of go over a tentative case plan for them. So that system has always kind of been there. It's really to kind of hear a little bit more about their situation and make sure it's something we can help with, and then go over how we can help and what it would take for us to get started and do that.
Sure. And I would imagine from the client's perspective, guys, that this is, I mean, it's a big moment, right? Or in most cases, it's probably their first moment in touching base with you guys, opening up their lives, their books, their issues to you. What's that been like working with the clients in this this virtual consultation? Have you noticed anything different maybe on how that consultation plays out from when you used to do it in person regularly and now you've moved into virtual?
I
Sure.
think
Oh, you go ahead, Angie.
sorry. For what I'm hearing, I actually it's pretty much after they on board, but is that it takes the scare actually it takes the scariness out of walking into a physical attorney's office, and being able to open up and tackle hard things from maybe your sofa or your desk at home, in a place that's comfortable for you. It is a the feedback is good. Clients like that, and then they learn to trust us, and they realize, oh, it's not so scary. Bryson is they're real people. The tax problem is solvable. And then I think from a practical standpoint, that our clients' time is value. I mean, everyone's time is valuable, right? So the challenge we had previously when Carrie and Jess were driving to Shreveport and Baton Rouge and New Orleans and Covington, weekly to visit with clients and meet and share their stories. Um, they don't no one's bogged down in drive time anymore. I mean, they don't have to spend an hour in Baton Rouge traffic or New Orleans traffic or on the road trying to get to us, and then, have their schedules maybe backed up or all these unknown factors. So what I'm hearing, really from the clients that do decide to enlist our services is that they love the convenience, they love the trust factor that we can build quickly for them, and they can be vulnerable right away with us because they are more comfortable and they can show up because they
Mhm.
don't have to tackle those unknowns, really. So, I mean, I don't know, probably have nothing else to add, but
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah, that's so spot on in my experience as well. When people used to come to the office, they would tell you, like, oh, I'm so nervous. I've never had to come to an attorney's office in my life. And, you could definitely pick up most of the time on a lot of stress or anxiety. But it's really interesting and fun in my experience to be able to see people be a little bit more comfortable.
mhm.
And I think, it's nice, like we offer lunchtime consultations. So, where they used to have to take off work and, make a whole day out of attending an appointment in their office nearest them, they can do it on their lunch break now or before work or after work or something like that. And it's also really neat if they're home, they can say, oh, let me go grab that letter real quick. I didn't think about that, but let me get it. I might want to discuss that with you or show that to you. And they'll hold it up to the camera, like, here's what it says. So yeah, there's been a lot of good in my experience of being able to meet with them virtually.
Yeah, I
Location,
love
of course, being big.
Sure, sure. I love that comfort is coming into the equation here, guys.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I mean, hey, we have right here in the byline of the show, it's Louisiana, it's tax talk with a Louisiana twist, and obviously that Louisiana twist, that local feel, is a really big and important thing to you guys at the Bryson Law Firm. And so, in talking with that local feel, maybe Carrie, I'll throw this one over to you. When you're going through the virtual consultations with somebody, do you, I would imagine from your seat, you feel like that local feel is still there, and you guys are really trying to project that because what you guys do, the warmth and the relations that you provide, that's a big part of what you guys do. Am I correct in saying that?
Oh, sure, yes, and it is. I was just laughing because just yesterday I had a consult with a client, and she wouldn't turn her camera on, and normally she does. And I was like, oh, why you not turning your camera on today? I have mine on. You need to turn yours on. So and she said, oh, no, I've been in the garden all morning, and I've just walked in. And so the next thing you know, I'm asking about her cucumbers, and my cucumbers are not doing well. How are yours doing? And so instead of talking tax for 15 minutes, we talked gardening.
Did you find out any secrets?
So
Did she give you any?
she's I think it was a lot of operator error on
Oh,
my end,
okay.
but anyway, I'm trying. So no, but yeah, no, it is a very warm feeling, and and the thing that I hear the most, anybody who's ever driven in New Orleans or Baton Rouge or Lafayette or any of these cities,
Anywhere.
the traffic is just and people do not have to get in the traffic. You talk about a really time saver, just not having to get into traffic, and I mean,
Well, how about the price of gas? Now
yeah,
we
and
have
now
a
the
whole new
price of gas,
challenge,
yes,
right? I
now
mean,
Uh-huh.
Whew.
an extra benefit, they might have to spend the gas to get here. So
yeah.
I really hear a lot about that, and with things we never really thought about, and as Angie said, even for me, because I would, or Jess, we would have to, we would move from office to office to office, which we still have these offices,
Mhm.
but they're available for somebody to meet, but no one wants to meet anymore. I mean, really, they would prefer to meet almost by video because it's so much more convenient and better for the client and
Sure.
for us. So
Well, two things too. I mean, on your Baton Rouge day previously, you visited with Baton Rouge people, which meant those type clients. But now you can visit only. Now we can visit with anybody anywhere in any location. So you're not
yes,
limited
So true.
by the clients who are available on a particular day. So it actually makes us more available because we're not limited by being in one particular
yeah.
location on a day.
And we've
Uh,
actually expanded. We've expanded offices. We now have offices in Houston and Austin, and kind of going into
Wow.
Texas a little bit. So we're able to help those, the great people of the state of Texas. We're able to serve too. So that,
Fantastic.
yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
we would have never been able. Jess and I would have.
it was physically
It would
impossible
be
to do.
physically impossible for us to be able to get to Houston all on a day like that. We'd
Sure.
have had to. So anyway,
Well,
Yeah.
one
No,
more
it's
I don't want to
sure.
forget. In a lot of cases, there are multiple parties involved, particularly like in business, or maybe a spouse who may be offshore or at a location, a different location working. So not having to be in a physical location together allows multiple parties to attend the meeting at a mutually agreeable time. So if there's a husband and wife and Carrie's out of town, then we can still attend the same meeting. Whereas before it was challenging to get all of the decision makers um, at the same place at the same time. And so the convenience
yeah.
factor is there. And for, maybe partners in a business or whoever, I mean, whomever,
Or they're each at work.
or a third party CPA or an
Yeah,
attorney that's maybe involved. Everyone can show up at at the same
yeah,
time.
and
Yeah.
not
No,
have
that's
to
a
be
great point.
patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, let's flip back, excuse me, to the expectations from the client side when it comes to going through this consultation. So maybe Jessica, maybe this is best, thrown your way. But what should a
Sure.
client expect then when consultation day comes and it's time for them to go through this virtual consultation?
Yeah. So they speak before, when they get the appointment scheduled, they speak with Miss Dory Lejeune, who's our case intake coordinator. She kind of gets the basics for them, opens up a file, in our system. She really walks them through a lot of that, what you can expect. She makes sure they understand that it'll be a Microsoft Teams meeting and make sure that they understand that they can join, with an app or a web browser or dialing in on their smartphone. And she will then send them a pre consultation information packet. So, in preparation, they have to make sure they're set up to join the meeting at the time and that they fill out that packet beforehand. It gives them the opportunity to upload copies of the relevant IRS correspondence and to just kind of answer a bit more, some questions about the situation.
Mhm.
But day of the meeting, I mean, as long as they have internet access or phone service, they join however, they choose. They can dial in, they can download the Microsoft Teams app, whatever they're comfortable with, and they join. And I'm there, and um, we take it from there. I start asking the questions, and we work through it one step at a time.
I love that. So so there's that initial consultation, right? You're going through that process of figuring out if there is a fit based on the documentations, the trouble that's there. Okay, let's say that there's a mutual agreement, there's the fit. You guys are going to proceed forward with helping them following that initial consultation. What happens next? I guess that's my biggest question, and what can somebody expect if they do ultimately choose to work with you guys?
Yeah, great question. So, assuming they say yes and we're all on the same page, we then send them over the power of attorney form. That's the most important. It gives us the ability to start communicating with the IRS on their behalf. It requires that all IRS correspondence now come through our office. So, we send over the power of attorney, and then, of course, our engagement agreement and our payment form. We charge typically a fixed ongoing monthly rate. You pay a down payment and a fixed rate moving forward monthly. So we send all of the paperwork, via DocuSign. You get that signed. We're happy to do it via, a meeting like this or do it over the telephone if you need some help walking through the paperwork and knowing where to sign and stuff. And as soon as we get it back, we file the power of attorney and go. Usually same day. And then from there, they're meeting with their team, meeting, of course, with their team. Um, the resolution team will typically send them an email same day, kind of CCing everyone who's going to participate in the working of that file, introducing themselves. I mean, we try really hard to make sure that people know, even though we're virtual, we're authentic and local. I don't have a whole lot of trouble with that. People will always joke like, "I know with your last name you're here." So the Thibodeau really helps me. I don't have to defend myself a lot as far as like, yeah, we're local and we're here. But we try really hard, I think, in each step of that way to make sure that it's convenient, but also, like Angie mentioned, comfortable for them and that they understand that, it's not so scary and we're
Mhm.
real and we're here to help.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Carrie and Angie, a little bit of a follow up to that. I would imagine from that conveniency perspective, would you say it's almost helped your team internally be able to maybe operate a little quicker when it comes to bringing somebody in or and getting the documentation and just starting that process? Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. You can take that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. I'm reflecting. The first thing that came to my mind is when we old school days, really, really old school days, even maybe pre-Jess days, when Carrie used to drive, and I would go with him sometimes by himself, and it would take, the he would carry a briefcase and come back with all of the paperwork. He'd carry a briefcase with him full of empty forms and whatnot, and then he would carry the briefcase back with multiple forms, and then it literally would fall on, the next person's desk, and they had to do their work. Then it would go to the next
It took
person down the
days.
hall's
Yes.
I mean, it took probably a good,
Hmm.
you know, tw 2
Yeah.
days sometimes to get it to where now we literally can get it within a day, depending on when the consultation happens.
Wow.
So to say it's expeditious is an understatement now that I'm thinking about it. I've never really put a lot of thought into it. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I would.
I
I would
remember
imagine.
the days when Carrie would come back from Baton Rouge and I'd be in the Lafayette office. It was a green folder.
Yep,
Remember the
multiple
green
folders.
folders?
There you go.
I was about to say, I don't remember a day pre-jet. I don't know. I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know if
well,
that's
yeah.
It's been
That's
a
because
long
you're too
time.
busy. You're too busy focusing on gardening techniques
I mean,
after
yeah,
that.
right.
After
Right.
that
pretty
Yeah,
call.
it's the cucumbers.
There it is. Well, guys, no, this is fantastic because, yes, I mean, so many of us, not only from that moment, right, in March of 2020, when we all had to make that shift, everybody in their own way, shape, and form has been finding a level of comfortability with this virtual world that we found ourselves in. I mean, just the other, firing up a Zoom meeting these days is like second nature to myself, whereas, prior to March of 2020, I had maybe used Zoom a handful of times, maybe for the one off thing. So, I mean, it's just funny how to look at how our habits, how the way not only we as people have operated, but of course how businesses have. And it sounds like after today's conversation with this free virtual consultation, it's worked for the better. I mean, it allows things to be a little more streamlined and efficient on your end internally. It allows, those different stakeholders, maybe that accountant, that CPA, the different individuals that are with a different client can all get together at a time, and that's convenient because location is no longer needed. So a lot of good stuff all together with this. As we're kind of bringing the conversation to a head, any final thoughts or suggestions or parting words really for our audience when it comes to this idea of the free virtual consultation?
Let me go first. The only thing I'd like to add that I think we never mentioned, or maybe we did and I missed it. As attorneys, we have some ethical obligations that came into light immediately when this happened, and we had to up our security game because our conversations are privileged, and that was our one of our immediate concerns was, wait, what about this hacking? What if somebody listens to do we waive the privileges? There's a lot of ethical obligations and responsibilities that we have as attorneys, and I would just say that we've addressed that early on. We handled it, and we upped our game in our security department immensely, and we have no issues there. So the conversations that we have with our clients are still confidential, and are still privileged communication, so to say. So we're not, we had to, and
That's a
I
good
know
point.
I know some companies got into some trouble with that because they failed to realize the security aspect of it. And unfortunately, there are some bad actors out there that do things that they're not supposed to do. And hopefully, we have addressed that. So I would just want to make that point too, as well, that our communications, even though they're virtual, and even though you're in, wherever you are, and we're here, our communications are still privileged. And yes, we still have to know everything to represent people. So they have to tell us all the stuff that that are privileged. And so anyway, so
Yeah,
I
no,
would
that's
add,
a good point.
yeah.
Very good point. Jessica, anything on your end? Angie, anything on your end?
I think that for me, the biggest obstacle, if I were a client, would be, can I trust these people? Really?
Mm,
I mean,
mhm.
is this a trustworthy process? And you know, my answer to that is, of course, yes. But that's a little self-serving. But you don't have anything to lose by trying. So the consultation is free. It requires minimal amounts of your time to introduce yourself, and so you can see that we really are. And so, take this step. Trust us. And if the worst thing you've done is you spent 30 minutes of your time talking to Dory or whomever receives your call, and then another 30 minutes or so talking to Jessica. My feeling after that is gonna be, or Carrie, my feeling after that is gonna be, you will trust us, and hopefully we can help you, solve the things that are keeping you up at night, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Jessica,
Good
any
point.
final thoughts as well?
Yeah, I agree with, everything that Angie just said. We're here to answer the hard questions. So if you have any concerns or, doubts or anything like that, I mean, we're up to make sure you understand how the process works and who we are and what we can do. So ask them. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
We haven't changed just because we went virtual. We haven't changed. We're the same people that we've always been.
Right.
So I don't think we've changed one bit. It just yeah.
That's great, guys. Well, there you have it. I mean, the free virtual consultation Bryson's are offering, worth looking into. If you're a member in the audience today, we appreciate people jumping aboard. Carrie and Angie, you've got a law firm to run. Jessica, you've got cases to look into. We'll let you guys get back to your day, but I appreciate you jumping on board and kind of shedding some light on just how you guys were able to pivot to this virtual world and really find value in it for not only yourselves, but of course your clients as well. So thank you for that.
Thank
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 you.
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 Alrighty. And hey, look, as always, we always like to take a moment here at the end of the show and thank you guys, our viewers, for jumping aboard and being with us here on the show today. If you guys liked what you saw, you took anything away from the conversation today, do us a favor, hit that like button, leave a comment under the show, and then, of course, subscribe to it, right, on any of the platforms that you may find us out there. Because at the end of the day, we're taking those tax related discussions, those, strategies and solutions that Carrie and Angie and Jessica and all their team really is working with their clients on a regular basis. And we're bringing them right here to you guys on this show. So be sure to go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you back here for the next one. So once more, for Angie, for Carrie, and for Jessica, I'm Ryan Ruff. We're going to go ahead and say so long, but we appreciate you being with us on today's installment of Talkin' Tax.